Have you ever had one of those days where everything seems to go wrong? Where the world feels like it's against you, and by the time you reach home, you're carrying not just your bag, but also the heavy weight of frustration, anger, and exhaustion. This is the story of Michael Turner, a hard-working city bus driver in the town of Riverside, USA. Michael wasn't rich, he wasn't famous, he didn't have a glamorous life, but what he did have was something more powerful, something that kept his family safe from the storms of his stressful job. And it all had to do with an old wooden bench under a maple tree. Michael had been a bus driver for over 15 years, and most days were tough. He dealt with angry commuters complaining about delays, traffic jams that stretched for miles, reckless drivers cutting in front of his bus, and passengers who sometimes treated him like he wasn't even human. One Friday morning, his day started badly. The bus's air conditioning broke down, and within minutes, people were fanning themselves with newspapers, muttering and complaining. "Come on, man, it's boiling in here," one passenger shouted. "I'm gonna be late again because of this bus," another groaned. Michael just tightened his grip on the steering wheel. He had learned that answering back only made things worse. By noon, things got even harder. A delivery van clipped his side mirror, and Michael had to pull over, file a report, and apologize to 30 impatient passengers tapping their phones angrily. By the end of the day, his shoulders were stiff, his head pounded, and his spirit was drained. He wanted nothing more than to step into his home and collapse into his favorite chair. But here was the problem. Michael knew if he carried all that anger and frustration inside, his family, his wife Emily, and their two kids, Ethan and Sophie, would feel the storm too, and he refused to let that happen. That evening, as Michael pulled into his quiet suburban street, he didn't head straight for the front door. Instead, he stopped at the old wooden bench beneath the large maple tree in his front yard. The bench was nothing fancy. Its paint was peeling, the boards creaked with every movement, and it probably been there for decades. Yet, for Michael, it was a sacred place. Every day, before he entered the house, he sat there for a few minutes. He imagined placing all the troubles of the day on that bench. The rude passengers, the near accidents, the honking horns, the chaos of a long day. Then, he would breathe deeply and leave those problems behind. This wasn't something Michael talked about. It was his secret. But today was different. His colleague, James Miller, had asked for a ride home after his car broke down. James, younger and impatient, had been venting all week about work. Michael, kind as always, agreed to give him a lift. When they reached Michael's neighborhood, James noticed him slowing down before the house. "Wait, why are we stopping here?" James asked, pointing at the bench. Michael smiled faintly. "This is where I leave my troubles." James stared at him. "You what?" Michael patted the bench. "Sit, I'll show you." James reluctantly sat beside him, curious but skeptical. Michael took a deep breath. "Every day, I deal with stress, anger, and frustration. But I've learned a secret. These things don't belong in my house, not with my family, so before I walk in, I leave them here. Every complaint, every problem, every annoyance, they stay on this bench until morning." James confused. "So you just ignore them?" Michael shook his head. "No, I acknowledge them. I don't pretend they don't exist, but I decided they wouldn't come inside. Then, when I go back to work in the morning, I pick them up again. And somehow, they feel lighter. The night's rest, the laughter of my family, the calm of home. It makes the weight easier to carry." James was silent for a long moment, watching the wind stir the maple leaves above him. He could almost feel the invisible burdens resting on the wood beside him. Finally, James whispered, "I think I need a bench like this." Michael smiled faintly. "You don't need this exact one. Find your own place. A step outside the door, a quiet corner, a bench at the park. Anywhere you can leave your worries behind before you enter the place you love most." James nodded slowly, a weight visibly lifting from his shoulders. For the first time that day, he felt calm, almost peaceful.
Over the next few days, James began practicing his own version of the bench ritual. Each evening, before entering his home, he took a quiet moment in his driveway. He imagined setting down the day's frustrations, the impatient passengers, the angry drivers, the long hours, onto an invisible bench. He noticed a remarkable change. Dinner at home was calmer. His kids didn't hear the frustration in his voice. His wife smiled more often, sensing his lighter mood. Even small disagreements no longer escalated into arguments. James realized something Michael had known all along. The stress of the world didn't have to follow you into your sanctuary. You could choose what to carry inside and what to leave outside. Meanwhile, Michael continued his nightly ritual beneath the maple tree, feeling a quiet satisfaction each time he watched someone else, like James, discover the power of letting go. Life will always throw challenges at us: stressful jobs, rude people, traffic jams, endless responsibilities. But there's a choice we all have. Leave the troubles outside before entering your home. Protect your family, protect your peace, and give your loved ones the best version of yourself. Whether it's an old bench, a quiet corner, or even just a moment of deep breathing, find your bench. Let it hold your burdens for a while. Step inside your home with lightness, love, and gratitude. Because when you carry the world outside, there's more room inside for laughter, connection, and happiness. If this story inspired you, remember, small daily habits can transform your life and the lives of those around you. Like this video if you felt motivated. Share it with someone who needs a gentle reminder to leave their troubles behind. Subscribe for more inspirational stories that help you learn English and live a better life.